And in just about 3 hours, President Trump is scheduled to have lunch with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell as the two try to forge a path forward on tax reform. Ahead of the meeting, the president tweeted this quote: "The Democrats only want to increase taxes and obstruct. That's all they are good at." Well, joining me now, someone who would disagree, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of the great state of California, a member of the House Intelligence Committee. All right, we've got to start with President Trump and Mitch McConnell. These two gentlemen clearly have their disagreements. The president loves to go after McConnell, but they agree on one thing. They've got to get something passed, and the next thing is tax reform. If these two men can bury the hatchet and get Republicans on board, is there anything you and your fellow Democrats can do to stop them?
Good morning, Stephanie, and we better, because right now this is a missed opportunity to help people who need tax relief the most, working class families who are seeing their paychecks go down and down every month, but they're working harder. Stephanie, I looked at the plan again this morning, and here's what it does. For the top 1% in this country, you'll make about $11,000 more a month. For the middle 20%, you'll make about $55 more a month. And for the bottom 20%, you'll make $5 more a month. It's clear that this benefits Donald Trump, his friends, his family members, and the wealthiest, but it doesn't do anything to put communities back to work who really need it, and the people who the president talked to during the campaign, who he promised he would bring back jobs to. I think we should try and focus on spurring economic development where we need it, and not just giveaways to the wealthiest.
I mean, you're right. Steve Mnuchin himself actually said, "I concede," meaning basically, you got it, I'll admit it, that the estate tax, for example, only helps the rich. But in the past, you have expressed support for Democratic leaders striking deals with this administration. Is there a deal to strike here, or is this so one-sided, so bad, there's nothing to be done?
Well, you know, I never want to say never. So we should be open-minded to finding ways to work with them where we can. Now, a Republican and I, so Chris Collins and I have legislation called the Main Street Revival Act. It says you can defer your payroll taxes if you go into an economically depressed community. I think opportunities like that we should explore, especially so many places where they're seeing their economies change. Automation is replacing jobs. Trade deals are sending workers overseas. We should try and get America working, particularly in the heartland and communities that truly have been disconnected. Why don't we start there? But if it's just corporate income taxes coming down with no guarantee that wage increases will go to the backbone of the workforce, I'm not going to be for that, and I don't think my colleagues will be either.
There are no levers that would force these companies to get tax breaks and then hire more people or pay them anymore. It doesn't exactly make sense, but I want to talk about Obamacare, which I know is so important to you. President's executive order is cutting off critical payments to health insurance companies, and I want to share what Republican Governor John Kasich said on Meet the Press.
And I'm very disappointed in the direction of the Republican Party. The Republican Party cannot be anti-trade. The Republican Party can't be anti-immigrant or taking away health care from millions of people. This is not what the party is.
I'm guessing you would agree with John Kasich, but despite these comments, there is still a load of Republicans who support President Trump, especially on killing Obamacare. So where does that leave Democrats?
Well, Democrats must continue to work with Republicans where we can, and you're seeing that in the Senate with Patty Murray and Lamar Alexander. They were making progress until the Republicans went back to trying to just repeal and replace. But, Stephanie, if we start with the premise that everyone should have access to affordable and quality health care, that insurance means that we all share the risks and share the benefits, and then try and, make sure that we cover people in areas where there are high-risk pools and make sure that the sickest among us aren't left out in the cold, we can do this. And so, the president, what he did last week is essentially setting up a hostage negotiation. He said he's going, to take away insurance for the poorest among us, and also he said it's time for the Democrats to come to the table. I mean, it sounds like he's willing to just keep shooting hostages until he gets what he wants. We're not going to give in on this. We've come too far, and I hope that more reasonable minds in the Senate and the House prevail.
Why not let him have it? President Trump attacked Obamacare on the campaign trail. Many people said, I don't like Obamacare, I want something better. Why not let the president have his plan, put it through, and then see what it looks like?
Because, Stephanie, his plan means that the breast cancer survivor who came up to me 2 weeks ago at a grocery store and told me that Obamacare meant that she wasn't going to be gouged for having a pre-existing condition would be kicked off her coverage and have to pay more. So it's people like her who we have to continue to stand up and fight for, and it's people like her who were heard during the repeal and replace debate who made sure that they didn't have the votes to pass it. So we must make sure those voices are heard across the country. We can strengthen it, and that's why I think let's bring Republicans and Democrats to the table and do that, but not just repeal and replace. That's going to hurt too many people.
That's what we want, bipartisanship. People don't care who the party is.
Right.
They just want good health care.
They don't.
Congressman, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.